What is going on, guys? It's your boy Tempo Trades. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best confluences that I have found in trading. Now, as someone who has made six figures in prop firm payouts last year and now this year, confluences are super important. The more confluences you have, the higher win rate a setup's going to be and the more likely it is to work. So I'm going to be ranking them from best to worst so you know exactly what to look for. Okay, so coming up first is inside the kill zone. Now, I may actually swap these around as I'm making the video. So just to start off, I'm going to put inside the kill zone. I'm debating A or B here. We're going to place it in A just to start the video. So what is inside the kill zone? Well, it's the idea that we should be taking a majority of our trades in the 9:30 to 11 a.m. window. So this is my personal indicator right here. It automatically maps out all the kill zones. So you could see Asia kill zone, which is 8 p.m. to midnight. You could see the London kill zone, which is 2 to 5 a.m. This is all New York time. And then you have the New York AM kill zone, which is 9:30 to 11 a.m. Now, the idea with the kill zones is basically you are going to see the most volume, the most liquidity, and the best moves in this window. Something like Asia session looks completely different. The ranges are different. The moves are different. So that would not work as well with our strategy. I've personally found that there's like a 7 to 15% drop in my win rate and in this strategy's win rate when you trade outside of this window. Guys, real quick, if you do want to buy a cheap prop firm account to trade next week, My Fund of Futures is having an insane deal. 25K flex account for only $49 if you're a first-time user. This is one of the easiest prop firms to get a payout on, guys. All these other firms, they require a buffer. They require a ton of trading days. This is 5 trading days only, and there's no buffer required. It is unbelievably easy to get a payout. There's no consistency rule. End of day drawdown, which is a huge one, I know. End of day drawdown and great support. They probably have the best support out of any prop firm in the game right now. You could just go on to their Discord and ask a mod anything you want. So highly recommend them. Use code TEMPO. Let's get back to the video. So as you could see by our data, inside the AM kill zone, this is 177 trades that one of my members back tested for my strategy. You have a 77% win rate over 150 trades. This is all inside the kill zone. When you go outside of that kill zone, it's going to drop probably from 65. It's going to be 65 to 70%. That also is my feeling in personal experience. There's been a couple times where, I trade the PM session, which is 2 to 4 p.m. after the AM kill zone. And I definitely notice less consistency. Now, it's still viable, but I would say at the end of the month, when you go back and you journal all your trades, a large majority of them should be inside this session. Okay, the next confluence is going to be clear areas to target. I'm going to put this in C tier just because I think it's one of the least important ones. But so obviously everyone talks about with ICT, draw on liquidity, draw on liquidity, draw on liquidity. But for me, when you're taking these kind of liquidity sweep reaction setups, yes, it's great to have clear areas, but it's not 100% necessary. A lot of the times I'm just targeting swing highs and lows and it works perfectly fine. There are some clear areas to target when I'm talking about that. Really, I'm talking about equal highs, equal lows, maybe, a London high or a London low, like 4-hour liquidity, for example. Let's just say, we had London low down here and then, price was coming down and then you wanted to take a IFVG short. If we had this huge liquidity pool down here, this would be an example as clear areas to target. But what I've honestly found is this is an example of a trade that I took. We don't really have any insane clear areas. We do have Asia high all the way up here, but it's 200 points from where we're entering. So what I found is that even though if you don't have equal highs or equal lows, if you don't have data highs or data lows or a huge liquidity pool, even though, as long as you're getting this liquidity sweep right here and you're getting a good reaction, swing highs and swing lows are going to be completely fine. So although this is a good confluence, I mean, all of these at the end of the day are good confluences, I would say it's one of the least important ones that I look for. Okay, next up is inside the macro. This is easily the least important confluence that I talk about. So there are a lot of ICT traders who are super macro driven. I've seen them on Twitter. They'll only trade in the macro. They believe in the macro like the holy gospel. That's not me. I still find so many setups outside of the macro. Now the macro, people use different macros too. It gets crazy. The macros that I use is the first and last 10 minutes of every hour. So it would be 9:50 to 10:10 or 10:50 to 11:10. Those are the macros that I'm looking at. And again, if I'm trading inside those windows, I'll always mention like, hey, we're inside the macro. This may help us. What is a macro? A macro, ICT explains it, is just a pocket of time where you're going to see even more volume, even more deliverability, and a higher chance of those setups working. That's just kind of how he teaches it. So, you know, I'll still take trades if they're in the macro. It's kind of like the cherry on top. Great if it's there. If it's not there, I don't really care too much. But yeah, there's some people on Twitter, they absolutely go crazy for macros. Okay, next up, we have premium and discount. I'm also going to put this in the A tier. I feel like I'm gonna have to move some stuff around, but premium and discount is a very, very important confluence. Now, what is this confluence? This is the idea that right here, you have 50% of the daily range, right? That's the yellow line. The idea is that if you're at the bottom of the range, you should want to long to the 50% level. And then if you are at the top of the range, you should want to short back down to the 50% level, because the idea is that no matter what happens, if we're in a downtrend or we're in an uptrend, price is eventually going to rebalance to the 50% level. It happens almost every single day if you have this level on your charts. So this allows you to be on the right side of the market and not just be super overextended and long the top for no reason, and now you're stuck in no man's land. So this really helps me with my bias, just knowing what side of the market I need to be on and where the best value for a trade is going to be. So I would say over 90% of my trades have premium and discount in it. Okay, next up, I'm going to do rejecting a high time frame fair value gap. So there is a lot of examples of this. Let me show you. Okay, so here's an example right here of a trade that I took last week, and rejecting a high time frame fair value gap, all I mean is that price is tapping into a 1 hour or 4 hour, sometimes even a daily, but it's usually just 1 hour or 4 hour. So when price is tapping into these high time frame gaps, you expect them to reject, right? So then you would hop down to the lower time frame, which is, you know, the 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, and you'd look for an entry that fit that narrative. So you're combining the high time frame with the low time frame, and you can see the example right here, right? We came up into this area, we tapped into a 4 hour fair value gap. I'm expecting price to reject from that gap. I'm now going down to the 1 minute, finding a short, because if we're expecting price to reject, obviously it's going to move bearish. And then I entered short and caught this right here. So I would give this a B. I don't need every single trade that I take to have this confluence, but you know, just like the macro, it's really, really nice when you have it, but it's not 100% necessary. Okay, next up, I'm going to add SMT divergence. Again, this is another one where you don't have to have it. I would say maybe 30 to 40% of my trades actually have an SMT in it, but it is a really, really nice confluence. Okay, so here's an example of an SMT divergence. Now, this is the idea that NQ on the left and ES on the right are supposed to correlate with each other, okay? They're both indices. So what that means is if you have a high and NQ sweeps that high, ES should sweep the same exact high at the same time, right? So right here, you could see on the left, we have the 955 high, and you can clearly see that NQ never swept above that level, okay? So then you look on the right, you go to the same 955 high, and ES did sweep above that level. That is a divergence, okay? Because one did something and the other didn't. Now, if the divergence is on the top, it is called bearish divergence. If the divergence is on the bottom, it is called bullish divergence. So basically, you would draw it like so from top to bottom, and then you would draw this other one from top to bottom to kind of just show this divergence. And all this is doing is it's giving you a hint in the market that the trend could potentially be shifting here off of this divergence. So if you already had a bearish bias, for example, and you saw this bearish SMT, this would just give you even more confidence that, you know, something like this short would work right here. And as you can see, it worked very, very nicely for 100 points. So that is what an SMT divergence is. And again, it's great. It's nice to have, but it's not needed or necessary every single time. That's why I'm putting it in beats here. Okay, we're going to do what everyone wants us to do and just rank the #1 confluence in all of ICT and IFEG specifically, the liquidity sweep. This is the #1. It's the only S tier confluence because I have a grading system and I've kind of used the grading system to keep me mechanically sound and not trade so much based on emotion. So I rank things based on confluences so I can exactly know what I'm looking at. And for me, I am never going to rate a setup an A setup or higher if it doesn't have a liquidity sweep. I don't care what other confluences it has because the liquidity sweep is the #1 confluence in all of ICT. The idea that if you just mark out a high time frame area of liquidity, such as hourly 4-hour highs and lows, Asia London highs and lows, previous day high and low, something like this. If you just mark that level out, wait for price to sweep that liquidity, you will get a large percentage of the time, you will get a reaction off of that liquidity, and then you can look for a reversal. So this is the #1 confluence by far. I'd rather take this confluence alone than, some 4 of these other confluences. So if you can just make sure that a very, very high percentage of your trades has this in it, you will be successful. Okay, next up, we are going to do the reaction to the liquidity sweep. So I am going to put this in A. I might actually have to move some down, but I'm going to put this in A for now. I have 2 examples here. So one was the example we just looked at, and then the second one is a bad reaction. Okay, so you can see we have this level right here. We have Asia high, price goes into this level, price never closes above this level, we never push past this level, and we immediately reject and start selling. Okay, you can clearly see the difference in green candles to then black candles as soon as we hit this level. So it's a great reaction. Whereas this reaction is much worse, right? We come up here, we hit this level, we don't react off of it right away, we kind of consolidate and chop, and this is going to have a much, much lower consistency than something like this. Now, obviously this still worked, but it's a much riskier setup, it's less consistent, and the reaction to the sweep is very, very important because that is telling the story. That is basically telling you, okay, this is probably going to be the start of a reversal, a change of trend, or this is just a little consolidation and price might actually fake you out. So the reaction to the sweep is very, very important. I guess I'm going to I see something else, so I'm going to put it at the top of B for now, but it's a very, very important confluence to have. You want to make sure most of your liquidity sweep reactions look like this. Okay, so here is another example, momentum through the IFEG. We're also going to add this at the top of B. So I have 2 examples here. One is very, very good momentum. The other one is not so good momentum. What is that? What am I talking about? It's basically how is price, once it sweeps that liquidity or once it taps that level, how is price moving in your direction, especially through the gap, okay? You don't want price to consolidate in the gap like this. Again, I'm just going on my Twitter, so you're really only going to find wins. I can't find any examples of losses here. I do have a few losses, but yeah, you want really, really good momentum because if price is going to consolidate inside that gap, it's showing weakness. And once it gives you that entry and you enter, it could just chop you out, wick you out, whatever the case may be. So along with the reactions, you really want good momentum within 1, 2, maybe 3 candles. It should be through that gap and over. So now you're ready to enter basically. Okay, next up we have singular FVG, which again, I'm going to put at the top of A tier. I would probably say this is the second most important confluence in ICT. Okay, so if I could just draw this real quick, this is what a textbook, right? This is what a textbook IFEG setup looks like, okay? We have the downtrend, we tap this high time frame liquidity level, we bounce out of it, and then if you're looking for a long out of that area, you would set a long right here and then go long and basically, target whatever. If you have some buy side levels up here, you target these levels, right? This is what our model looks like. Now, the main thing that makes IFEGs fail are other fair value gaps, okay? Because what's going to happen is, let's just say you enter along here and you're going to target this as your first TP. If you have another fair value gap right above, a lot of the time price is going to hit that gap and then reject and move lower and hit your stop loss. Okay, so this is what it means when it's called a singular FEG. When you have an FEG that you're entering on and there are no other fair value gaps in your area until at least TP1 or your break even gets hit. Once, if your TP1 gets hit and then there's another gap up here, let's just say, it's still singular, because we only care about if there's anything in your way until the first TP gets hit. So it's really, really important when you're choosing which IFEG to take. This is something that experience is going to have to play a role in, but you want to make sure most of your fair value gaps are singular. Okay, and last but not least, we have the size of the fair value gap. I'm also going to give this one A tier. So basically, the size of the fair value gap matters. Typically, I like 8 to 15 points as my ideal fair value gap size. Recently, we've been having so much volatility that I've kind of had to bump that up just to adapt to the conditions. I've been doubling that number, but you don't want to take small fair value gaps because they're not going to offer you much support. Okay, if you're taking a small fair value gap, let's just say like this, and then you're going long, what's going to happen is when price closes and then you go long and then it retests that gap, if it's small or insignificant, it's just going to slash right through that gap like it's not even there. Okay, but if you have a decent size fair value gap, for example, what's going to happen is sometimes, when you enter, it's going to tap off that gap and continue higher because it's just it's a bigger imbalance. The bigger imbalance, the more likely it is to hold. That's the logic. So that is something to look out for when you're picking gaps. Again, the size matters. 8 to 15 points is usually what I like. If you see that volatility is super high and the VIX is super high, you want to double that number. Okay, so I moved things around just a little bit. I want to keep it like this. So I moved SMT divergence and rejecting a high time frame gap down here. So these are the most important confluences that I use for ICT. Again, you don't have to trade IFEGs. You could trade order blocks, breaker blocks, suspension blocks, whatever you want to do, 2022 model, whatever you want to do. I've been trading ICT for almost 3 years now. Yeah, almost 3 years now. Wow. And I've made 6 figures in payouts back-to-back years, and this is what you need to be looking for. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a comment, subscribe, let me know if I missed anything, and I'll see you on the next one.